Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'll be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful two-piece top and short. It's a very simple and easy tutorial, so if it's something you're interested in, just keep on watching and let's get started. So for this style, I'll be using just 2 yards of fabric, and as you can see, my fabric is on fold. So to fold it, all I did was to divide my bust circumference by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is about 9.5, and I added about 6 to 7 inches extra to it because of the boo-boo style of the top. So at the top of the fabric, I'm going to be marking about half of an inch to serve as my shoulder line. And please note that I'm drafting the back of this top first. It's the back we're going to be using to cut out the front. So on that shoulder line, I'm going to be marking my neck width, and I'll be using 3 inches for that. So I'll just go ahead and mark that 3 inches here like so. So because this is a boo-boo top, I'm going to be marking my sleeve length directly from where I marked that 3 inches for my neck width. So I'll just place my tape here like so, and I'll be using 15 inches for my sleeve length. So I'll just go ahead and mark that 15 inches on this shoulder line like so, but I'll be adding extra 2 inches to it for joining allowance, so that will make it 17 inches. So now for the shoulder slope of this top, instead of the usual 1 inch that we normally use, I'll be using 2 inches because this is a boo-boo top and I want it to fall very well. So I'll go ahead and mark 2 inches here like so from that shoulder line. So now I'm going to be connecting the 2 inches I came down by for my shoulder slope. I'm going to be connecting it to the neck width like so. So at this point, I'm going to be marking the full length of this top, and I'm going to be using, the actual full length is 18 inches, but I'm going to be adding 2 inches extra for allowance, making it 20 inches. So depending on how long you want the top to be, for me, I'm just going to use 18 inches plus 2 inches for sewing allowance, making 20 inches. So now just use my ruler to connect. So from the shoulder slope here like so, I'm going to be marking the armhole of this top. So you can see the way I placed my tape. So I'm going to be using about 10.5 inches for the armhole opening. So this depends on how wide you want your armhole to be. So from that point, I'm going to be removing that 2 inches I marked for the sewing allowance of the sleeve. Remember, I added extra 2 inches when I was measuring the sleeve on the shoulder. So I'm just going to go ahead and note it down. I'll just remove it like this before marking the actual body allowance. So right now I'm going to be marking my actual bust circumference divided by 4. So my bust circumference divided by 4 is 9.5 inches. You can see where I placed my tape. So I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches for it because this top is a very free top. I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches. So you can go ahead and add as much allowance as you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark it there. So I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect to the allowance like so. You can see the way I connected it. So from this point, I'm going to be coming down by 1.5 inches. I want to make the armhole curve now. So I'll come down by 1.5 inches. Then at this part, I'll go in by about 2 inches. This is just to make it easy for us to draw the curve. So I'll be connecting that 2 inches like so to the 1.5 inches I came down by. So you can see the way I'm marking it. You can see the curve. So from that point, I'll just go ahead and mark a straight line all the way to the waist or the full length of the top. So there's no need to mark any waist allowance because this is a free top. So you can see what I have. So the last thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding half an inch on the shoulder like so for allowance so it doesn't come out short. So make sure you add your half an inch for your joining allowance on the shoulder. So remember that this is the back of the top, and right now I'm going to be marking the neck depth for the back. I'll be using 1.5 inches for that. So it's the back I'm going to be using to cut out the front. So I'll just go ahead and mark 1.5 inches here like so, and I'll use my ruler to connect. Then I'll go ahead and make my neck curve. So I'm done drafting this pattern and I'll go ahead and cut it out. So now I'm going to be cutting out the front pattern, and you can see my fabric is on fold the exact way I folded the back. And right now I'll just go ahead and cut it out using the back piece. So as after cutting out, I'll make the alteration to the neck. So at this point, I'm just going to be cutting out this neck part like so it will be easy for me to cut the neck of the front. So I'm done cutting. I'm just going to go ahead and place the front pattern aside so I can cut the neck of the back. So right now for the front, I'm going to be using 3 inches for my neck depth, and you can see the way I marked it. So I'm just going to use my ruler to connect that 3 inches like so. So now I'll just use my ruler to make the neck curve like so you can see what I have. So now I'll just cut it out. So now I'll be cutting out that V-shaped part of the top, and what I'll do is I'll just come here by about half of an inch. So depending on how wide you want it to be, but I think half of an inch is fine. So now I'll be coming down by about 3 inches from that half of an inch, just for me to get the depth of that V shape at the neck. So I'll be using my ruler to connect that half an inch I came in by like so. I'll be connecting it to 3 inches I came down by. So now I'll just cut it out. So this is what I have after cutting, as you can see. Right now I'll be cutting out the facing for the top, and what I'll do is I'll just take a piece of material and fold it into two like so. Then I'm going to go ahead and place the front pattern on it exactly like so. So I'll be using the folded part of the front pattern. I'll be placing it on the folded part of this piece of material. So I'll make sure everything aligns properly. So I'm going to be cutting it out exactly the way the front pattern is. So make sure you take your time. So now I'm just going to go ahead and remove the front piece from that facing that I cut, and I'll just go ahead and trim this part. I'll just be making a curve like so just follow what I'm doing. So this is what your facing should look like after cutting. You can see the way mine is. So if I place my facing on my top, this is what it will be looking like. So at this point, I'll be cutting out the facing for the back as well, and I'll be doing the same thing I did at the front. I'll just put my fabric on fold like so. So I'll go ahead and place my back piece on the piece of material like so, and I'll be cutting the facing out. So just follow what I'm doing. So this is what my back facing looks like. So right now I'm going to be joining the facing to the fabric, and as if you notice, this is the wrong side of the fabric, so I'm going to be facing it to the right side like so. So I'll face it to the right side, and I'm going to go ahead and place my facing on top like so. So you can go ahead and use your pin to hold it down. So right now, just take it to my sewing machine and use about 1/4 of an inch to join it like so. So just follow my finger. So you're just going to go ahead and join it all the way like so. So I'll be doing the same thing for the back as well. I'll turn the back of my fabric to the right side, and I'll use 1/4 of an inch, to join. So I'm done joining the front, and you can see what I have. I went ahead to overlock the facing all around, but if you don't have an overlocker, you can just leave it that way. So I'll just go ahead and make a notch at this point. So that V-neck part, I'm going to go ahead and make a notch, but make sure you don't cut through the thread. Then I'll go ahead and notch this part as well. So I'll go ahead and make a notch around the neck as well, so it will be easy for me to turn because I'm not going to be top stitching it. So I'll just go ahead and make notches around like so. So now I'll just go ahead and turn it over to the other side. So I'll make sure I bring out all the edges. So for the back as well, I'm going to go ahead and make notches around the neck like so. So after notching for the back, I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch. So I went ahead to iron down the facing, and I added a bit of hemming gum at this middle part like so it can come out looking neat. And for the back as well, I went ahead to iron it down, and this is what I have. So now I'm going to be joining the shoulder of the front and back piece together. So I'll just place both of them on top of each other like so, and I'll be using the 1/2 inch allowance I left. I'm going to be using it to join them together. So after joining, I went ahead to overlock it as well. So right now I'm going to go ahead and hem the sleeve. So what I'll do right now is that I'll just go ahead and open up the sleeve like so. I hope you can see what I'm doing. So I'll just go ahead and open it up like so, and I'll be using the allowance I left, which is a 2 inches allowance I left for the hemming allowance of the sleeve. I'm just going to go ahead and fold it in like so, and I'll take it to my sewing machine to join. So I'm done joining it, and this is what I have. I went ahead to iron it down, and you can see how neat it looks. So right now I'm going to flip it over to the other side, and I will use my pin to secure both pieces together so I can join the body. So after joining it, I'm going to be using about 1/2 inch to join it together. So you can use between 1/2 inch to 1 inch to join together. So after joining it, this is what I have. So right now I'll be joining the hem of the top with the 2 inches allowance I left, and I'm done doing that, and this is the final look of this top. All it needs right now is just to iron it properly. You can see what it looks like. So it's as simple as that. So right now I'll be going straight to cut out the short. So now for the short, I'm going to be cutting directly on my fabric as well, and all I did was fold my fabric into two. I divided my hip circumference by 4, which is 10.5 inches, and I added extra 5 to 6 inches for it. That's all I did for the folding. So right now I'm going to go ahead and mark about 1/2 inch at the top of my fabric, which will serve as my waistline. So this short is going to be having a band, and the height of the band will be 2 inches. So before taking any measurement, I'm just going to go ahead and come up by 2 inches like so. So right now I'm measuring the length of the short, and I'm using 18 inches for the length of the short. So right now you can see I placed 2 inches on my waistline before marking the actual 18 inches for the length of my short. So if your band height is going to be 2 inches, make sure you remove the 2 inches first before marking the full length of your short. Please don't forget, make sure you remove the 2 inches, or even if it's 1.5 inches you want to use for your band height, make sure you remove it before taking the length of your short. So now I'm going to be marking the allowance of the short, and I'm going to be using 2 inches for my sewing allowance. So I'll just come down by 2 inches from the actual length of the short. So right now I'll come to this side of my fabric, and I'll be marking 1 inch at this side like so. So I'm going to be marking 1 inch all the way to the length of the short. So after marking it, I'll just use my ruler to connect. So right now I'll be marking my waist to my hip measurement, and as you can see, that 2 inches I removed earlier, I'm going to be removing it before marking my waist to hip measurement. Please don't forget, make sure you remove the 2 inches for your band height before marking your waist to hip. So my waist to hip is 9 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead and mark it, and as you can see, I removed the 2 inches. So after marking, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So at this point, I'll be taking my crotch measurement, and as you can see, I removed 2 inches as well before marking my crotch measurement. So my crotch measurement is 12 inches. I went ahead to remove 2 inches first before marking the 12 inches. So make sure you remove your band height as well before marking your waist to crotch length. So I'll just go ahead and connect it. So now I'll just go ahead and label it to avoid any confusion. So that's my hip and that's my crotch. So now I'll be marking my hip circumference divided by 4. So I'm going to be marking it on my waist, my hip, and my crotch. And you can see the way I placed my tape. I placed it on that line that I marked 1 inch for. So I'll mark my hip divided by 4, which is about 10.5 inches. So I'm going to be marking it on my waist, on my hip, and on my crotch. So after marking, I'll just connect the 3 points together like so. So now I'll come to my waistline, and I'm going to be dividing my waist circumference by 4. So my waist divided by 4 is 8 inches, and you can see the way I placed my tape. I placed it on that line of the hip circumference that I marked. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 8 inches like so. So you can decide to add about half of an inch for ease. So I'm going to go ahead and mark half an inch for my ease. So after marking, I'm going to be connecting it to my hip line like so. You know, we already took our hip circumference, so I'll just go ahead and use my hip curve to connect from the waist circumference that I marked. I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the hip like so. So now I'm going to be marking my crotch extension. Remember, my hip circumference divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'm going to be dividing that 10.5 by 4. So if I divide it by 4, it will give me about 2.6. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it on this crotch like so. So you can see the way I placed my tape. So that will serve as my crotch extension. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my curved ruler to make the crotch curve. So you can see the way I placed my ruler. So if you don't have this curved ruler, you can just use your free hand to trace it out. So the next thing I'll be doing is whatever it is I have here, I have about 13 inches here. So I'm going to go ahead and mark it on my entire short length. So because this is a free short, I'm just going to go ahead and mark it all the way, even on the allowance like so. So after marking, I'll just use my ruler to connect the 3 points together. So this shirt is going to be having a pocket, and I want the wideness of my pocket to be about 2.5 inches. So it depends on you. You can make it 2 inches if you want. So I'll just go ahead and mark that 2.5 inches on my waistline like so. Then for the depth of the pocket, I'm going to be using about 6.5 inches. You can use between 6 to 7 inches for the depth of your pocket. For me, I'm just going to go ahead and mark that 6.5 inches here like so. So after marking it, I'll just use my ruler to connect it like so. So at this point, I'm going to be adding all the necessary allowances I need to add to this front pattern. So the upper part, which is the waist, already has about half of an inch. So that's the half an inch allowance to join the pants together. So for the pocket, I'm going to be adding half an inch allowance as well to join the pocket to the main short. So I'll mark half an inch all the way like so. I'm going to be adding half an inch to the side as well. So half an inch allowance will be added to this side as well. So I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect those allowances that I left. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out, but please don't cut out the pocket yet. We're going to be using this front pattern to cut out the back, so I'll advise you to cut out the pocket yet. So you can cut the pocket after we are done drafting the back. So now I'm cutting out the back of this short, and by doing that I folded my fabric into two as well, and you can see I left as much allowance. At the top I would advise to leave about 2 to 3 inches of allowance because of the back is always different from the front. So right now I'm going to go ahead and extend my lines. So you can see I extended the crotch line, and I'm extending the main line, the length, the full length of the short. I'm extending all the lines, so make sure you extend your lines. So I'm going to go ahead and trace out the hem of the shirt as well. So right now I'm going to be coming in from this line. You can see the line I'm pointing out. I'm going to be coming in by about 1.5 inches. So place your 1.5 inches directly on that line like so, and mark that 1.5 inches on the back pattern. So I'm going to mark 1.5 inches like so. So at this point, what I'll be doing is, at this 1.5 inches I came in by, I'm going to be going up by 1.5 inches as well. So you can see where I placed the 1.5 inches. I placed it directly on my waistline, not on the allowance. So it's just to avoid any gaping. So if you have a bigger butt, you can use about 2 inches. For me, I'll just be using 1.5 inches. So my camera stopped recording at this point, but I'm going to be showing you what I did here. So this 1.5 inches that I removed, remember this 1.5 inches that I came in by, I'm going to be adding it back to this place like so. So you see where I placed my tape, I'm placing it on the actual waist allowance. So I'm going to be adding that 1.5 inches back here like so. So make sure you add the 1.5 inches back to avoid any shortage. So I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect. So now I'm going to be extending the crotch for the back. So what I'll do is I'm going to place my tape on this part like so. So you can see where I'm placing it on the actual line, not on the allowance. I'll be using 2 inches to extend the crotch. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 2 inches here like so. So from that 2 inches I marked, I'm going to be coming down by about half of an inch. So to connect the crotch to the waist, what I'll do is I'll just carefully fold this part like so. Make sure you don't remove it from the fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my cord roller to connect like so. So you can see the way I placed it. I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the crotch. So after connecting, I'm going to carefully put this back like so. So I'm just going to go ahead and extend this hip line like so. So I want this short to have a dart, and what I'll do is from this point like so, I'm going to be using 1 inch for my dart. So I'm just going to go ahead and mark that 1 inch here like so. The dart is optional, but for me, I'm going to be adding that to mine. So the next thing I'll be doing is, remember that we marked 2 inches for the extension, for the crotch extension at the back, and I placed my tape on the actual measurement, not from the allowance. So I'm going to be doing the same thing at the hem of the short like so. So I'll just go ahead and mark that 2 inches here as well. And I'll just go ahead and connect. So right now I'll come to this part from the hip line. I'll just go ahead and trace it out like so. I will not be adding any allowance to that part because there's already allowance there. So I'll just trace it out like so. So right now I'm going to bring in my hip curve, and I'll use that hip curve to just trace from my waist to my hip line like so. So you can see what I have. I'll just go ahead and trace it here all the way like so. So now I'm just going to go ahead and remove the front pattern so that I can go ahead and add the allowances to the back. So I'm going to be adding half an inch to the waist like so. So the half an inch is to join the band to the waist, and I'll be adding half an inch here as well. Half an inch will be added to this side as well as to this side. So if you notice at this side, I didn't add the half an inch all the way down. This is because from the hip down already has its own allowance. So I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect like so. So I'll use my hand to carefully trace it down like this so it doesn't look weird. So you can see how it looks. So right now I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect those allowances I marked. So I'm done with the back pattern and it's time to cut it out. So now I'll just go ahead and cut out the pockets of the front piece. So now I'll be cutting out the pocket of this short, and as you can see my fabric is folded into two. I already marked it out. So the depth is 9 inches and the wideness is about 7.5 inches. So this all depends on you. So now I'll cut it out and I'll be cutting 2 pieces of this. So I've gone ahead to cut out the second piece of the pocket. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to place them on top of each other, making sure the wrong sides are facing each other. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to place the short on top of the pocket piece like so. So the right side of the short is facing the right side of the pocket. So you can see what I have. So right now I'm going to go ahead and cut out that pocket hole. So just watch what I'm going to do. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut out this part like so. So now I'll just go ahead and fold it like so. So I'll just fold it like this and I'll go ahead and trim this side out. So just watch what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim off this part like so. So it is time to join the pieces together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn them to the right side. So this is the front part. I'm going to turn them to the right side. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to bring one of the pocket piece like so. So I'll make sure the right side of the pocket piece is facing the right side of the short. So you can see what I have. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin it down and I'll take it to my sewing machine and use about 1/2 inch allowance with it. I'll use it to join that part together. So I'm done joining it, and this is what I have. So if I go ahead and turn it like so, this is what my pocket will be looking like right now. So right now, before doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close the pocket bag. So I'm just going to go ahead and carry the pocket like so. You can see what I did, and I'll go ahead and use about 1/4 inch to close this part. So this is what I have after closing. You can see what the pocket bag is looking like. So I'll just go ahead and turn it over to the right side, so you can see what it's looking like. I'll just turn it like so. So this is what our pocket bag is looking. So I'll just go ahead and turn it like this as well. So this is my pocket bag. You can see what it looks like. So what I'm going to be doing right now is I'm going to be top stitching on this place that I stitched, just to avoid your pocket tearing. So I'll just top stitch on it, and I'm done doing that, and this is what I have. So right now I'm going to be top stitching the pocket bag. So what I'll do right now is I'm going to go ahead and open it up like so that the thing lays very flat. I'll just go ahead and top stitch directly on the pocket bag. So I'm top stitching on the pocket, not on the short. So I'm done doing that, and at this edge I'm just going to go ahead and notch it so that the pocket comes out looking very flat. So I'll just notch it like so. So you can see what my pocket bag is looking like after top stitching and after notching that part. So this is how my pocket bag is looking. So right now what I'm going to do now is that at this part, this edge of the pocket, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch with about 1/4 inch. I'm just going to stitch all the way like so. You know that line that is always in front of the pocket. So this is what it looks like after stitching. So I'm going to go ahead and measure the 2.5 inches I left for my pocket bag, and the 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. So you can see here that I have 3 inches in total. So right now I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this part of the pocket down. So I'm done doing that for both sides, and right now I'm going to be stitching both of them together with the 1/2 inch allowance. So I'm just going to go ahead and stitch the crotch area of both the front and the back. So for the back, I'm not going to be stitching all the way down. I'm going to be using a loose stitch at the top because of my zip. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to be marking about 2.5 inches. Remember, 2 inches is for the band height, and the 1/2 inch is to join the band to the short. So I'll come up by 2.5 inches like so, and I'll go ahead and mark where I want my zipper to stop, which is 7 inches. That's why I marked 7 inches here. So I'll be using a loose stitch from the top up to the 7 inches. Then I'll go ahead and stitch the remaining down. So I've gone ahead to stitch it down, and this is what I have. So right now we're taking the dart allowance for the back. Remember that allowance I left, I'll be taking it now. So you can see where I placed my tape. I placed it from the 1/2 inch allowance. So I marked my nipple to nipple, which is 4 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 5 inches downwards. That will be for the dart length. So I'll go ahead and connect it upwards like so. Then I'll be taking 1/2 inch on both sides for my dart. So if you didn't take your dart allowance, this is not necessary. So right now, I'll just go ahead and use my ruler to connect that dart like this. So once I'm done, I'll take it to my sewing machine and join the dart. Remember, you're going to be doing that at the other side as well. So I'm done joining the darts, and this is what I have. So right now I'll be joining the crotch of the front and back piece together. So what I'll do right now is I'll place them on top of each other like so, and I'll use my pin to secure both pieces together, and I'll go ahead and use 1/2 inch to join it all the way. So I'm done joining the crotch, and right now I'll be joining both pieces together. That's the front and back. But before joining it, I'll advise you go ahead and pin down the pocket so that it doesn't shift when you're joining together. So make sure you pin it down. So after pinning the pocket, you go ahead and pin the sides as well. So once I'm done pinning it down, I'll just go ahead and use the allowance I left to join it. So just use your waist circumference, your hip circumference to join it all the way down. So I'm done joining it, and I went ahead to flip it over to the other side, and this is what it looks like. You can see what I have here. So right now I'll be cutting out the band of this short. So I'm going to be showing you guys a simple way to cut out your trouser band. So now to cut out the band, I'm going to bring in a piece of fabric. Make sure you have enough fabric. So I'll fold it into two. You can see the way I folded my into two. Then I'm going to open up my short like this. So I'll open it up like this, making sure the middle is like this. So I'm going to take the front piece, that's the middle of the front. I'm going to go ahead and place it on the edge of the fabric, and I'll go ahead and open up the zipper part at the back. So I'll open up that 1/2 inch allowance for the zipper. I'm going to open it up like this, and I'll place it on top of this piece of fabric. So I'm making sure the middle of the front piece is matching the piece of fabric. So I'll go ahead and pin it down like this. So I'll go ahead and pin down the middle as well. So I'm going to pin it down. Then at the edge, make sure you open it up. Like I said, open up the zipper allowance as well. So I'll go ahead and pin the edge as well. So right now I'll go ahead and cut it out. So you just take your time to cut it. I'll just cut out this upper part like so. So at this edge part, I'm going to be leaving 1/2 inch of allowance. This is not really necessary, but I normally leave it. So if it's too much, I'll just go ahead and trim it out after joining the band. So right now I'll go ahead and take off my shorts like so. So you can see the curve, you can see how it looks like. So right now we're going to be measuring the band height. So right now I'm going to be taking the band height. Remember we left 2 inches for the band height when we were cutting out the short, but I'm going to be marking 3 inches. So 1 inch is for the allowance. So I'll be using 1/2 inch to join the band to the short, and the other 1/2 inch will be to join the 2 pieces of band together, because I'm going to be cutting out 2 pieces of this band. So I'll go ahead and mark the 3 inches all the way like so. So after marking it, I'll just go ahead and connect. So now I'll just cut it out. So I've gone ahead to cut out the second piece of this band. So if you want to add your ST to it, you can go ahead and add it to it. For me, I'm just going to be leaving it like this. So I'll go ahead and notch the midpoint of this band. So I'll notch the upper and the lower parts. I'll be doing that on both bands. So after notching it, I'm going to be placing the pattern notch on top of each other. I'll make sure it aligns. So it's this upper part I'll be using 1/2 inch to join. So I've gone ahead to join it, and right now I'll just go ahead and make a notch all around it. So after notching it, I'll go ahead and open it up like so, and I'll just top stitch. So I'll just top stitch on this part like so. So after top stitching, I went ahead to iron it down, and this is what I have. So to make it easy to join this band to your short, what I'll do is I'll be folding in 1/2 inch at the bottom like so. So I'll fold in 1/2 inch at the bottom. Then at the top as well, I'm not going to be folding 1/2 inch. I'll be folding about 1/4 inch. So just watch how I'm doing it. I'll go ahead and pin that 1/2 inch at the bottom down. Then at the top, I'll fold in about 1/4 inch. So you can see what I have here. So the one at the top is a little bit shorter than the one at the bottom. So I'll go ahead and pin it all the way and iron it down. So this is what I have. I hope you guys can see. So you can see what I have after ironing it. You can see what it looks like. So right now I'll fold it into two like so, and I'll go ahead and mark the middle. So I'll mark the midpoint of both the upper and the lower part. So right now I'll be joining the band to my short, and I'm going to be placing the short in the middle of the band like so. So I'll make sure that the side of the band that is longer is on the inside, and the one that is shorter is on the outside. So you can see what I'm doing right now. So I'll go ahead and pin it down all the way around. So after pinning it down, I'm going to be sewing it all the way around, and after sewing it, this is what I have. You can see how neat it looks. You can see how the inside looks like. So right now, this excess, I'll just go ahead and trim it out. So I'm going to be fixing my zipper to it after trimming it out. So I've gone ahead to add my zipper to the short, and this is what it looks like. And I also went ahead to use the allowance I left for my hemming allowance to hem the short. And we've come to the end of today's tutorial. This is your first timer on my channel and you've not yet subscribed, please don't forget to subscribe. And if you're a returning subscriber, don't forget to like and share the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.